Greetings, everyone. This is Z at Happy Good Happy Life. Welcome and peace. Today we will be making our delicious Alkaline Vegan back in the day biscuit pot pie. For starters, we're going to go ahead and cook our mushrooms, oyster mushrooms. We want all the water to evaporate. We want our mushroom to be cooked well. And we're gonna, after they're cooked, we're gonna go ahead and add about 2 tablespoons of grapeseed oil. And we're gonna, and some red onions, we're gonna let them stir, saute. And for our part of our filling, we're going to add onions. We're going to dice some onions, red rose potatoes. We're going to use plum tomatoes, but our plum tomatoes, make sure you skin those plum tomatoes and de-seed them, because if not, the lectin, you can cause big problems. And we're going to use butternut squash. We're going to cut it, and we're going to put some water, a cup of water in a cookie sheet, and place it in the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes. Make sure the oven is nice and hot. And we have our herbs. We have basil, rosemary, oregano, and we have thyme. And for our sauce, we're going to go ahead and use a half a cup of Basil bean flour. We're going to use spring water. And we're going to also use onion powder. We're going to use cayenne pepper. We're going to use ginger. And not last but least, but we're going to go ahead and use my favorite Ethiopian Berber spice. And last but not least, we're going to use some sea salt. And once we're done with all that, we're going to mix it with our sauteed mushrooms and onions. And we're going to add water as necessary, spring water as necessary, because we do not want our sauce to start sticking, because it's going to create lumps. So we're just going to add water as necessary, taste it, make sure it's well seasoned. If not, just add a little more salt, a little more onion powder. Now we're going to go ahead and add our herbs, our delicious fresh herbs, our scallion onions, some of my favorites. And get that a good mix, because we want those flavors to incorporate into the sauce. And we're going to add our red onions, we're going to add the tomatoes, we're going to eat red rose potatoes, and we're going to add all that goodness, mix it in well. We're going to add some kale. We're going to add some kale to the mix. Go ahead, well mix it. Incorporate all those veggies and herbs into the sauce. Now we have our delicious butternut squash cut in cubes, and they're going to be crunchy, a little crunchy. You don't want them soft, because everything is going to go, once you layer the biscuits, it's going back into the oven for maybe 10 minutes. Just long enough to toast the biscuits. It looks so delicious. It tastes delicious. Trust me. Add a little more salt. A little more onion powder. We don't want it over salty. We do not want it too peppery. And you're just gonna let it sit there. Just turn the burner off and just let it sit there a minute. And you're gonna go get those biscuits. And we're gonna go ahead and layer them. These biscuits are nice and soft. They're not hard at all. And I learned the trick to soft biscuits is to use very loose dough. Almost like drop biscuits back in the day. And see, this is how we made our, especially younger people when I was growing up. The elders would use pastry. They would make their pie crust dough and layer it over the filling, pot pie filling. But young people, we would go to the store, the grocery store, and we would buy these flaky biscuits in a can. They were so delicious. And we would bake them in the oven and layer them on top of our filling, our pot pie filling, and pop them back in the oven, put butter on them, pop them back in the oven, and they were nice and toasty and delicious. And so this is like a reenactment. Spread that butter. This is homemade butter. There will be a link in the description box if you're interested in making this butter. This butter is delicious. And you know, the more we cook, the longer we cook. Learning to veganize food is better. Okay, so it's out of the oven, and the biscuits are nice and toasty. And see how soft? That's what you want. It took no effort to just put that spoon down into that biscuit and then filling. No effort. Believe me, it took me a while to learn the nature of spelt flour. This is spelt flour biscuits. And it took me, because everything I used to make with spelt flour, whatever dough I made, it would be so extremely hard. I just didn't know how to make biscuits from spelt flour. And especially you're using just spring water, or you use an aquafaba and just either sparkling water. These biscuits are absolutely, and salt. These biscuits are absolutely made with no baking soda, no baking powder, no oil, no nothing. Just sparkling water, aquafaba, and salt. The spring water, the sparkling water helps to give it rise. And the aquafaba, if you want to use aquafaba, is to give it moisture. And that's about it. And it's gonna be very loose dough, very loose. Make this recipe. I encourage it. It's very delicious. It has a lot of, it's very nutritious. It's very gut friendly. And, subscribe to this channel for future videos. Like this channel, give it a thumbs up so it put us into a certain algorithm. Also, share this video, share the vegan love, and please comment. Try this recipe and just comment, you know, whether it turned out, whether you liked it, or what you added something different, you know. Let's just exchange ideas, you know. This is about creativity and love. Stay safe, eat to heal.